Hi, I'm Steve, and this is abandoned, and that's somewhere I'm not going, because, I mean, that's disgusting. But where am I? Well, this is the railway. This is not an abandoned railway, this is the North Staffordshire Railway, running from that way, Kidsgrove, that way, Congleton. And I'm stood on a railway. That way, Scholar Green, that way, Kidsgrove. So, long story short, in 1827, a railway was built from Kidsgrove running north to Scholar Green to transport coal to the coal wharf here. The railway ran along this route that I'm walking now, and it probably was taken up a good nearly 150 or more years ago, as there's no evidence of this line in any maps from 1880, so it's probably taken up before then. So I'm now walking along the track bed of this line to see what I can find, and I doubt there'd be anything left, but I am coming towards a huge piece, a huge piece of infrastructure that was built for this line that survives till this day. And it's probably the most impressive piece of infrastructure that I've seen on one of these old tramways. It's not a piece of rail, no, it's an entire bridge. Let's have a look at it, shall we?
This is Bridge 91 over the Macclesfield Canal. Built in 1827, it gives me the date for this railway, since there's not a whole lot of documentation that I can actually find, as with a lot of railways and tramways I cover on this channel. This bridge is actually older than the canal it bridges over. The Macclesfield Canal was opened in 1831, and the bridge itself, like I said, was built in 1827. Bridge 91, also known as the Tramway Bridge, was constructed over the Macclesfield Canal while itself was being constructed, thus leading to its older date. We can see here the little number plate saying Bridge 91 just above the arch. This railway is actually quite close to an existing line. The North Staffordshire line is going past me right now, as you can hear the train, and that was built long after this railway had ceased to be used. As I walk onto the bridge, I can actually see how thick this bridge is, as it once carried a road and a railway alongside it. This bridge also has some personal meaning as well, as it tipped me off to the location of the line and got my name on Railmap Online itself. And I've wanted to come and visit this bridge for quite a while, so I have quite a lot of footage of the bridge, as I was kind of awestruck for finally being here. From this point on in the video, it's probably going to be mostly me on site, as I was quite excited finally having walked this railway that I've only ever seen on a map. So I'm going to use as much of the footage as I can, no matter how windy and shaky it is. So anything that I need to add, I'll add over in voiceover at home, but most of it now is just going to be footage from me exploring this railway. I will try and keep as much facts as I can, and I'll try and keep you updated to my location. But from here on out, let's just go explore.
So this is Bridge 91 over the Macclesfield Canal. So it goes that way to Kidsgrove, and it goes that way to Macclesfield. And we'll see this canal later on, because this railway actually goes from the canal to the canal, because while it was under construction, they had to build this railway further north before the canal was even finished to transport coal to Scholar Green, which is here. Now, the route of this tramway runs directly through these gates, which I don't think were there back in 1827 even. So, I can't show you exactly where it is, but there's a footpath that runs right parallel to these gates, where I can hopefully show you what I can see through the bush. So, let's have a quick look at what we can see. So this footpath obviously isn't the old railway, it's a bit too hunky-bunky for that, but I'll show you some pieces of infrastructure which I think are the railway. So, if I go through this hole in the bush here, very convenient, that's the railway. Don't know what gauge it was or anything like that, just know that it was named railway on the map, Little Moss Railway, or Scholar Green Railway, or just Little Railway, but there it is, that's where it ran. And it ran down that side of the bush. Another little hole here I can peek through, there's the track bed again. Keep going down, and here we get some actual infrastructure. So through here, there's a building. Let's see if I can get a bit further down. So here's a building. Looks old, don't know if it's from 1827 or not, but it's old. And there, that's a twig, get rid of you, be gone. There is where the tramway ran. Railway, I've got to say railway, it's not a tramway, it's a railway. Very, very early railway. Ran through there. There's actually some sort of platform there. Don't get me wrong, this wouldn't have been a passenger railway or a steam railway, this would have been horse and cart back then. But still interesting. So let's just go through this gate. We'll defeat it entirely and go around it. We're going to go and see what we can look through the gate and glean. So the old railway ran down this road here. So let's just jump onto this pathway, or this road here. That's the road, and this is where I couldn't get to earlier. So it ran It ran down here through this gate, so I'm actually stood now on the track bed again, because up there's Bridge 91, and it ran down here, down the road, down past where all these cars are going, and at the end there's a car that's now turning right, where that blue truck went. It turned right there, into Scholar Green, and that's where you can find the old coal wharf. Now there's nothing there now at all, but that's where it is. So I'm just going to follow the route on the old maps, and we will meet me about here, just south of where we are now. So let's have a look and let's go. Hi, you join me high above the North Staffordshire line, where we are looking at the railway right now. Can you see it? Of course you can't. I'll follow it with my finger. It goes here, whoop, up here, there we go. And up beside the embankment, up there, to that muddy bridge from the first part of the video. This line was built in 1848, that line was built in 1827. So, a bit of a time difference here. I'm guessing this railway here, where the digger is and all that, they're digging it up, which is a shame, was taken up long before the North Staffordshire line came through. So let's have a little walk down Little Moss Lane, because that is the path of the old railway, and we'll see what we can see that's left over. Answer is not a lot, apart from a huge cutting, so I might actually just snip the video, snip until I get to the cutting.
So it's time to discuss the age of this railway and how I know when it closed and all that sort of stuff, and it's all to do with maps. All the research on this railway has been map based so far. I haven't found any written evidence of it apart from the stuff I've read about Bridge 91. So this railway is existent on this map here from 1829. 1829 to 1830. This is the William Swire map, and you can see the railway displayed here. If we move a year onwards to the Andrew Bryant map, we can also see the railway illustrated here along with some other railways in the local area. Moving on, the next map that the railway is actually visible on is the Cheshire Tithe maps of the 1830s, where you can see this line here. The surrounding maps don't seem to have actually included the railway, but they were definitely made when the railway existed. They just didn't include it. But this cartographer clearly had quite an interest in the railways, so he actually documented the southern part of the railway in great detail, and that will come into use later in the video as we head towards Kidsgrove to have a look at this railway yard we can see down here. But in general, any maps after this do not show the railway, and oftentimes you will see disused tramway on some newer maps from 1888 and 1890. This doesn't even say disused tramway, disused railway. It just leaves a sort of embankment behind. So we're going to now advance the video on. We're going to go and have a look at more of the line that's left, more of the route that's left, and we'll definitely be seeing a lot more embankments and cuttings in the rest of this video. So I really hope you like earthworks. So let's go. Okay, so I have to overdub this bit at home since I didn't say any words while out and about because there were people nearby. Anyway, so this is a cutting called Moss Lane. Oh, there's a cow sign. Make sure to get the cow sign, Steve. Very important. Right, back to the road. So this is a cutting for a railway, which is now called Moss Lane, and this is this part of it on the map here. So the railway used to run here, now it's a road. I'm assuming the railway and the road shared the same infrastructure, so there we are looking towards the east, and then we turn our camera towards the west, so we are seeing the full cutting. That's a cat. Yes, I can see why this was very important to film. There's a car going past. Quick, hide the camera. There we go, you can see my finger at the bottom of the frame there. So I'm currently walking up towards that bridge where I talked about the diggers earlier on. I just had to backtrack and cover this piece now, as technically we're working the wrong way. So I should run this footage in reverse, but I'm not going to.
So that's Little Moss Lane. I've just walked up that. That's the cutting. So that's a railway cutting. Then the road ends. Railway continues through this field. Very faint cutting in this field still. It's obviously been ploughed a lot. But this is the railway. You can still see a very faint U shape where the cutting was. I imagine it would have been more like that back in the day. But nowadays it's a bit ploughed flat. So let's have a quick walk up here. And have a look at the what's going on, shall we? Interestingly, I've had a little explore in this field already, apart from the mud. Woo! Jump the mud. And it's full of rubble. This entire field is full of demolition rubble. I don't know what happened to the video, then we'll try that again. This entire field is full of demolition rubble. Now, it's very weird. I've not seen this before, though I've not been in many fields. If someone can tell me why a field like this would be full of brick and other bits of like old Victorian houses, that would be cool, because I can't think of any reason why this would be here. On the old maps, there's no old building here. It's not Roman. There's a lot of it, so I'm guessing at some point the field had been unloaded with a bunch of rubble, which is very strange. Yes. Yeah, well, look at that. What is this? Is that part of a brick? Who knows? The railway ran where I'm walking now. Whoa, hello. Interesting. The railway ran where I'm walking now. And it went up here to the end where there was actually a junction with a tramway. Now, that one was a tramway. And this tramway is in existence a bit later on. You can see it here on the old map. It ran south. Sadly, I can't follow this route. Much of it's houses and private farms these days.
Later on, I found that the entirety of that tramway is indeed walkable and actually quite interesting, so another video coming up for that one, I think.
But that's still an interesting tramway nonetheless. But this one is more important, more interesting, more older. So that's the one I'm going after today. So I did not even realise this. There's even more infrastructure and evidence of this railway than I even thought. Look ahead. There's an old embankment. Let's see what we can see here. This is so cool. And there's also more and more rubble as we get closer this way. Excuse the wind and my fingers. I'm stood on top of this cutting, which is now, my thinking, a bridge, because a river runs right underneath it. It's probably more likely a embankment with a culvert going underneath it, but still, that river has been running under this since 1827. And this is more evidence of the railway. Got it right. So let's keep going. We'll see what we can see now. I'm getting more and more excited about this as we go along, because I didn't think much remained of this at all. And now that we've seen the road cutting, and especially that little bit that was left up by the Scholar Green area, I'm getting more and more hope that we're going to see some more and more cool bits of old railway here. The coolest part, obviously, is the bridge. That's the best bit. But we're going to keep going, see what else we come across. Now, I'm going to get to a road in a minute, but yeah, I'm going to quit the recording now, get my breath back, and I'll see you over there. So there's the other end of the railway. This is a junction. So we've got a road going off that way, a path going off that way, something else going off that way. Now, on the ground, this looks different from on the map, but this is a tramway here. So this path here, tramway. This is the old tramway that heads down here on the map, so I'll cover it better when I've actually got the map segment at the end of the video. We'll go over what I've been through, but that's a tramway, possibly another video. But this is even more of the old railway, and shall we go and see what we can see, shall we? So this is as far this way as I'm going to go today, as I can't stray too far from my car. But where that footpath runs, supposedly, now my theory is that's the rest of the railway heading that way to the Hallowlee Colliery, which is a whole nother video in itself. This entire area is littered with old railways. Pit. So if I just walk back this way, got something quite interesting. Got another bridge here. Obviously this isn't from the time of the railway at all, but you might be able to see where the old bridge was. Can you see down there? Got some rubble down there. Got some matching on the other side. So obviously this is, you can see the embankment. Look, you've got the embankment going up there, flat at the top of the railway, then down this side. So this clearly was the old railway route. I just stood over a river, might not to drop my phone. Anyway, so if I can get down there, I don't think I can, but this is obviously the old bridge. Well, not this. That's not the old bridge. But this is track bed, and I'm back on it again. So, that way, Hallowlee, and that's another video. For now, I'm going back to my car, which is about 2 miles that way. So, I'll see you guys again further down the railway. I'll see you guys further down the railway in Kidsgrove itself, where we're going to look at where it came out on Liverpool Road. So, hold myself to my word. Let's go and find that, shall we?
As I walked under the closed underpass, we are now approaching the south side of that tramway I said you couldn't walk down. It was at this point in my adventure that I found out you could walk down the tramway, and the video could have been a whole lot better because of it. But I didn't, so this is the video you're getting.
So now I'm down here on the map, and I didn't believe it, but this is quite obviously the old tramway. This is now definitely a tramway, so at this point the railway would have been totally demolished and the trackbed reused for a tramway, or it would have just been upgraded or downgraded to a tramway, but definitely at this point the map says tramway. And now we're looking at the 1890s map, so it's a little bit more clear about exactly where it ran, and well, this is it. It's not the greatest walk I've ever been down in my life, but we're not going to go too far because that's not the point of why we're here. I'm just saying how far you can go to get a good shot or a good idea of what this old tramway would have looked like. So a quick look at the old maps later. This is actually called Trubshaw Sidings, and you can see it here on this map. And I'm going to follow the line down under the bridge. So this used to be obviously a railway bridge that I'm coming to now. So we're going to have a quick look at that, and this is the old 1827 thing. So if I show you on this Bryant map of 1830, actually no, not that map. So if I have a look at, hang on. So this area is actually called Trubshaw Sidings. So wait a minute, there's a train. Yes, well worth the ruined take. Anyway, this area is called Trubshaw Sidings, and you can see it here on the map. And if you switch across to the tithe map, the Cheshire tithe maps, this is dated 1838, but it still shows the exact same network running right down the other edge of the map. And it runs under here, so we're going to follow this line across Liverpool Road East to see where it, well, what's left of it really, what we can see today on the ground. So let's go. This would have been the old railway bridge. Well, it's still a railway bridge, but except it would have had a railway underneath it as well. Don't know how much evidence there is of that on the ground today. It looks like the bridge has been rebuilt a few times. I'm guessing this here, this old stone here, this would have been the original bridge.
Prepare yourselves for an obscene amount of reverb.
Quite a big bridge. Oh, there's the original bridge right in the middle. Look, you can see it there. You can see why they've closed the road. Obviously trying to dig it up and rebuild the old railway, aren't they? Anyway, so there's the original bridge then. So this stone is new. They've got the original and the old. Fascinating. And a hole. Brilliant. So if we walk out the other end of the bridge, the railway would have run through here. Under there. It looks like, according to the map, it ran this way. So past the buses. You see the bridge there. Lovely day for a tramway. We went through there. I'm not going through there, but take my word for it, went through there. I'm just going to walk around the road. Let's see if there's any evidence of it at all over here. I doubt it, this is all industrial. All been built up now, so probably nothing left, but at least we can stand on the path and say this is an old railway and feel proud about ourselves. This big stone got to do with anything. Kidsgrove, yes, that's where I am. Kidsgrove welcomes you. I'm not seeing anything at all. Seeing a lot of cars looking at me. How dare I make a YouTube video? How very dare I? And cross the road briefly, just be on the other side. See if there's anything old. Shall we? So now I'm on this side of the road. I think I'm about here on the old map. That could be it there, that path. Well, this has been an interesting video to make. This is the second oldest railway I've explored, and the first one that I actually found, because a lot of these railways already exist. I found this one, and that's why if you go to this place on Rail Map Online, and you click on this branch to Scholar Green, it says Steve. That's me. So I've asked around, I've asked the locals in my town if they know anything about it. I've asked people at Scholar Green if they know about it. No one knows about this line. I've even asked the absolutely fantastic Anthony Dawson, rail historian, and he has given me a wealth of knowledge on the Harlow-Lee Colliery Railway. Not this one. This railway seems to have fallen through the cracks of time, and I'm hoping to correct that. So this is probably the first video of a few on this area. I doubt I'm going to come back here again for on-site footage, but there'll be more speculation and research done on this, because I want to see if I can get this line back on the map for an early railway in Cheshire, because it deserves it. Right on the edge of Cheshire, right before we went to Staffordshire. So, from the edge of Staffordshire and the edge of Cheshire, I bid everyone a good day. Now I'm going to see if I can get some footage of trains, because, well, why not? Okay, see you guys next time. Just stopped a moment to get that embankment. You can actually really see it from this point of view. That's real nice. 10 out of 10 infrastructure.